In this video, you'll learn my 5 signature YouTube editing tricks that I personally use to take you from noob to a pro editor. At the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how to use these tricks to make your animations to look much more cinematic and minimalistic. So with that being said, let's see how this is done. So the very first trick that I'm about to show you is pretty much my signature type of motion graphic and trick that I personally like to use when I create my own motion graphics. And it is really simple for you to replicate as well. And the key here that you need to keep in mind is that when you're keeping or when you're using the background, you need to make sure that you have this type of lighter colors mixed with these darker parts in your background if you want to actually sell this effect even more. So with that being said, I basically have this really simple image that I have animated using a motion title effect just to get rid of the edges, and also a turbulence displays effect that I have animated the evolution, and also I just animated the position so it basically goes across the screen. So once you have that type of background, it can be anything, make sure that you add a little bit of textures as well. So once you've done that, we can actually start creating this trick. So the first thing that you have to do is get your rectangle tool and basically make a simple shape that you can type of kind of like add your own text inside of this box. So once you've done that, you can customize this according to how you want. So I'm just going to increase the roundness just like so. So once we've done that, we'll actually start creating this. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually rename this as main. And once we've done that, we are actually going to keep it like that, but we are going to add a fill to this, and we're going to make sure that it's kind of like a pretty darker color, but it's not completely black. So once you've done that, we are actually going to duplicate this layer and we're going to put it below our main layer, and we're going to call this as the highlight. And now I basically have my own preset which I have made, so I'm just going to add that really quick, which is this one right here. Right, and I know you cannot probably even see anything. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select this highlight layer, we're going to open up the properties, and we're going to unlink the size, right, size property, and then we're going to increase the width and height. But on the main text in the main layer, I'm just going to change the color to something like that, just to actually kind of like highlight the main body and the highlight layer itself. Yeah, I need to actually do that here. I'm just going to make a black color. All right, perfect. And now in our highlight layer, I'm just going to increase the width, maybe something like that. Looks pretty good. And also make sure that you increase the height according to how you actually increased your width as well. So I do think that looks pretty good. All right, so once you've done that, what you need to do, you need to actually select your highlight layer, and first let's just duplicate that and put it below our actual highlight layer. And in this case, we are actually going to call this as a CC, call this as the light sweep. All right, now once you have done that, we're going to select the highlight layer and we're going to make sure that the color is set to black. And then we're going to change the blend mode of this to screen, so you'll get this really nice kind of like the embossed edges in your shape layer. So now inside our light sweep layer, we're actually going to delete the fill. All right, and then you're going to go into presets and you're actually going to add my preset, which is called this one right here. You can actually add your own type of like effects as well, but in this case I basically have my own preset which I have made. And again, you can do this by your own. It's basically a simple light sweep animation, which is I have animated pretty much all the properties that I needed. So once you added that, we are actually going to duplicate that layer again, put it below everything, and we're actually going to delete all of these effects. And then I'm going to select that layer and I'm going to toggle switch the modes, and I'm going to click this button right here, which will actually make this shape layer into a adjustment layer. And now I'm just going to go ahead and search for the fast box blur effect, and then you can actually increase this to any value that you're looking for. So I'm just going to increase this value as well, just to actually blur out the actual background, so it kind of like separates the background with this thing as well. So now you can see we have really nice box. And now I'm just going to add a text, but you need to make sure that you use a good font that can actually match this. So I'm just going to use my my main font, which is Made Tommy Bold. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and use the medium one because I do think that looks pretty good. I'm going to change the spacing to 78, put that in the very center. And once you've done that, you can probably lower down the scale and everything. So once you've done all of your things, make sure that you add a little bit of deep glow into your text layer so it likes, pop out even more, because our main focus is the text itself. So once you add everything that you want, the next thing we gotta add is my signature trick or my effect. So for that, just add an additional layer and then go into animation, and then you'll be able to actually find a effect if you download my pack, and you'll be able to find all my effects and presets, everything in my editing pack. So I'm just going to go into if finally looks, and I'm going to click on premium dark tone. Alright, so once you click on that, sometimes you will get some errors. So again, I did use some paid effects, which is the deep glow effect and as well as the warp chroma effect. So in this case, I'm just going to delete the deep glow effect. Now, if you go just forward, you can see how well this effect actually looks. So I'm just going to make another additional layer, and I'm going to call this as deep glow. And then I'm going to add the deep glow effect into this just to actually make it more pops, just to make this effect to look much more premium. So now what you can do, you can select this additional layer, call this as effects, and you can of course customize this according to how you want. So one thing that I would do, I'm just going to go into my tritone, and you can basically change the color to any color that you're going for. So I do think that this color looks pretty premium and looks super cinematic, but let's just go with a different color in my opinion, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this, but I don't know why. Yeah, so once you add all your things, you can actually top this off by basically adding a kind of like a particle overlay to sell this effect even more. So basically the trick here that you need to add is basically my effects, which you can download for completely free inside my Discord server. So yeah, that's it for the first trick, and let's move on to the second trick. Alright, so when it comes to the second trick, it is pretty simple to do as well. It's a really simple shadow type of effect which you can use for both text and also for images as well. But it'll actually work so better if you add this effect for images or some kind of like these shape layers, right? So as you guys can see, I basically have this really simple image which I want to add. So I have also added some kind of a border around this image just to make it pop even more. And now what you can do is basically once you have that layer that you want to have that you want to add your long shadow into, is you need to actually duplicate that layer and just call this as shadow. Again, this is really simple to do, right? And put it below the actual image layer, and then you need to search for the fill color and make sure that the color is set to black. Perfect. Yeah, you need to search for CC radial fast blur. Add that effect, and then you need to click this little button right here, and then pull this little dot somewhere across your image, somewhere right here. And now if you like increase the amount, you will be able to see this really cool looking shadow which is going to create beneath your image. So I'm just going to keep it something like that maybe. Yeah. And then to actually smoothen out these edges, you can go ahead and add the effect called fast box blur, and you can increase the blur radius to around like 23 or something, right? And then the one thing you need to make sure that you do is make sure that you decrease the opacity a lot, because sometimes this can look pretty harsh. So maybe you can go for like 60 or something. Yeah, because don't actually work. So yeah, that's how you can actually make this really simple and minimalistic shadow that is kind of like expanded from your image. And if you be creative, you will also be able to make this, and also make sure that you add the CC vignette effect and also top it all off with a curves effect onto adjustment layer, just to make sure that the focus is on the image itself. And one thing that I forgot to mention here is, if you're actually using this effect, make sure that you use a lighter background, because if you kind of like use a darker background, this effect will not going to work. So please make sure that you use a lighter background. If you are not using a lighter background, there's also a trick that you can follow as well. So let me quickly turn everything off. So for now, there's the second trick, and this is something kind of popular, and I have been using this for pretty much all of my videos since I actually discovered this. And not only for images, you can actually use this for text as well. And that is, you just have to duplicate your image layer that you want to add a shadow to, and then you need to right click on transform and flip that horizontally. All right, and now click R and change this value to 180 and put it below that so it looks kind of like a shadow, right? And once you've done that, what you're going to do is you select that and make sure that you call this as shadow. I'm just going to call this shadow 2. Get your rectangle tool and add a mask which looks something like this. All right, it doesn't have to like cover up the whole image, so it needs to look like this. And then open up the mask properties and increase the mask feather to, I don't know, like 150 or something, right? And once you do that, the key here is to actually play with the blend modes as well. So if you can go for classic color dodge, that looks pretty bad, so you can just play with that. Hard light, linear light, I don't think nothing actually, like I don't think blend modes are going to work in this case, but it is good if you can actually play with the blend modes, because who knows, you might find a blend mode that actually looks good. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with normal because that's the only blend mode that I can use in this case. And once you've done that, you need to make sure that you add the fast box blur effect, and you can crank up the value to around like 8 or 9. I'm just gonna go for 8. Yeah, that looks pretty good into my eyes. I'm just gonna keep it like that, and then click T and make sure that you lower down the value to around 70 or something. And also what you can do is you can add a tint effect and change the color to black, and after that click on the amount to tint and just put that around like 30, like 20, just to make it look like it is actually, you know, darkened out on the edges and everything. So yeah, that's how you can actually make this effect. And another thing that you can add is the deep glow effect, just to actually kind of like sell this effect even more. But in this case it don't really work because there are some parts that actually have cut out because I enabled the transparent background. And one thing that you can actually do here is you can also add a little bit of a texture into this. So I just added a texture into my project, and what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to change the track matte into my shadow 2. So change the track matte into my shadow layer, and I'm going to change the blend mode into like overlay or something, just to make it, you know, give more texture into the actual image itself. And you can see it looks pretty good, and it kind of like sell the effect even more. And not only for these lighter backgrounds, you can actually use this for darker background as well. So that's how you can create this really cool shadow effects, and that is my second trick. And now we can move into the third trick. Alright, so creating the third trick is also pretty simple. So once you've done that, the next thing that you've got to add is a page, right? So I'm just gonna get my rectangle tool, and I'm just gonna make a rectangle that looks like a A4 or something similar to that, or depending on what you're going for, you can make any shape that you want. I'm just gonna put that into the center, and I'm gonna go to my fill, and I'm just gonna change the color to something like that, right? Perfect. And then I'm gonna select that layer, I'm gonna duplicate that, and I'm gonna call this as lines, and I'm gonna call this as page. All right, and now I'm going to click on the lines layer, and again I basically made all the presets that I need to actually create this. And again, if you want these presets, you can check the link and you can kind of like purchase them for yourself if you think these are really helpful for you as well, or if not, you can create this just by yourself. So let me click on animation. I'm going to click on apply animation preset. Should be somewhere here. Yeah, it's right here. So I'm going to click on paper lines, which will add these lines right here, and I'm going to click on track matte, and I'm going to track matte that into my page layer, and make sure I turn on the visibility of my page. And then I'm going to click on the page as well, apply animation preset, paper base, use that one. All right, perfect. And now I also want to add a little bit of text here, so I'm just going to get my type tool, and I'm going to add a text. All right, so I just added this type of text into my page, and then what you're actually going to do, you're going to select everything inside your page, and you can actually make a pre-comp of that. So once you've done that, the next thing you've got to do, you need to select that layer, go to animation, apply animation preset, and then you need to add the page final flip effect, which will give you this really nice effect. All right, so there's also another effect that you can use as well. So let me undo that, and I'm gonna click on apply animation preset, going to go to effects, which is this one right there. So you can also use this effect as well if you're going for like an animation, but the key here is you need to actually put it like that if you want to have this type of animation like a in animation to your actual page layer. But sometimes it will work, but sometimes it will not gonna work. I will show you guys some examples on where I actually use this effect right here. But in this case, I'm not gonna actually use that, but instead I'm actually going to use the other effect, or the other preset, which is, where is it, which is this one right here, which will give you this really cool kind of like a, you know, a windy type of a animation into my text, oh sorry, to my page. And then I'm gonna actually make this into a 3D object. I'm gonna open up the properties, and I'm gonna actually change the X rotation like that. Also, I'm gonna increase the Y rotation. Perfect, that looks pretty damn good. So once you've done that, I'm actually going to add a little bit of drop shadow into this. So I'm gonna, and now once you have all those things ready, I'm gonna make another adjustment layer, and I'm gonna copy my effects which I have pasted before, paste it there. Also copy my deep glow effect and paste it there as well. And now sometimes it might not even look as good, but we can actually change that using the colors. All right, so again, feel free to use this trick in your videos as well. So now let's move into the fourth trick. All right, so the next trick is pretty simple for you to do, because we are going to be using our simple little icons and turn them into much more premium looking icons, which looks just like this. All right, so let me quickly open up this pre-comp, which I have everything laid down. So this is basically the icon, right? So all you want to do, you need to get an icon which you want to actually turn that icon into looking something like this. So after that, just open up ChatGPT and just create a new chat. And all you want to do, you just want to copy this prompt, which I'm going to leave that in a Google Doc down below. All right, so all you want to do is just copy this exact same prompt, copy that, and then just paste that, and then you can basically import the image that you want to kind of like make it look premium. But you need to actually keep something in mind. You need to make sure that the PNG that you're uploading needs to be a color other than black. Okay, so please make sure that you are not uploading an image which is black, because if you upload an image that is black, ChatGPT will not gonna kind of like recognize what is the actual background and the icon, because both of them are basically black. So make sure that you're uploading an icon which is white or any other color that is not black, and then just paste this prompt and then just hit on enter. All right, so I just uploaded a simple PNG which is in the white color, and then just click on the plus and make sure that you click on create image button right there. Once you've done that, you can just press on this button and ChatGPT will actually start creating that image for you. All right, so you can see how premium this icon actually looks. So this is the after result and this is the before icon, and you can see how much cool this actual image looks right now. So now we can actually download this image. So as you guys can see, I just added the image right here. So the next thing that we've got to do is, once you have your image, you need to actually track matte that into your shape layer. So I have the shape layer in the background, so that's kind of like my shape. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer again like my main image, and I'm going to put it below everything, and I'm going to hide the visibility of that. And on my main image, I'm going to add the tritone effect, and I'm just gonna make it something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Or you can actually leave it in the default settings. And now if you go back into your main composition, you can see how well that actually looks. But if you think this actually not looking good as you want, if you actually like this, you can just keep it as it is. Or if not, as we did before, I'm just gonna add a tritone effect, and you can copy the same tritone effect onto your other layer, just like that. And then I'm just gonna go back, and I think that this looks pretty good into my eyes, right? So again, you can actually play with all these settings and everything, and once you've done that, you will also gonna be able to get an effect that looks super cool and, you know, unique for your icons, right? And once you've done that, everything that I have used here is basically all the other tricks. As you guys can see, I have added that long shadow effect into this icon. So this is after and this is before. So this is after. You can see there's a clear difference. And also I added these lines revealing like the effect from my preset pack. And then I do have my background. So that's how you can actually turn any boring icon to make it look much more premium and stand out in your YouTube animations. So now we will move into the trick number 5. So when it comes to trick number 5, it's actually basically generating AI videos from VO3 and actually using that in a much more creative way in your YouTube videos. So the key here is to actually first use VO3, or what you can do, you can first generate the images and then you can actually animate them using VO3 tool. But or if not, you can basically copy the exact text prompt and you can turn that text into a video using VO3. So the way I did this, or the way I generated this video, is basically through a text to video prompt, right? So in my previous video, I have showed you guys exactly how you can generate these type of videos for completely not for free. Actually, you will have to pay, but you can actually get VO3 for a limited time, for like a 1 month, for completely free without actually paying any money, right? So as you guys can see, what I did was I used my GPT, which is this one right here. So this is my custom GPT that I have made for you guys. So using this GPT, you will be able to get an output that is similar to this type of style. So you can see it's like a documentary style, kind of like a dark documentary style graphics. So if you like these graphics, you can use them. So all you want to do, just type out a simple image scene that you're going for. So for example, I can say, so once you type your simple image scene, or like a scene description, you can just press enter. But before you do that, make sure that you type as give the output in the 9 structure format. So what I would actually recommend for you to do is just give a little bit of more description about your scene. Do not like type a simple description like this, but just give more of information about the scene, what the character is wearing and everything else. And after that, you can just press the enter button, and after that, this GPT will give you a really good prompt that you can use in your when it comes to actually generating these videos. So while that is actually generating, so as you guys can see, these are the 2 outputs that I have got. But as you guys can see, this prompt looks much different, right? So that the kind of like the trick that I have used here, I basically turned that image, or like, sorry, the text prompt that I have gotten into a JSON format, right? So you can see all this prompt is in JSON format, right? So all you've got to do is that once this GPT gave you the actual kind of like the output, you need to actually turn that into a JSON prompt. But before you do that, this generator will not gonna give you the character movements. So please make sure that you update the prompt with the necessary character movements, and once you got that output, you can actually turn that output into a JSON format, just like I have did in this case right here. So let me just give some time until I actually generate the prompt. I think it is taking too much time because I did not give so much of context about the scene and everything, so that's why it just taking so long. So yeah, once everything is done, this like the GPT will start creating the actual kind of like the prompt for you. So you can see it will give you a scene description about what's happening and everything, the character appearance, the scene composition, the style, and pretty much everything that you're looking for. But another thing that you need to add here is the character movements, as I have said before. So what you have to do is just copy this entire prompt, right? And once you copy that, you can just open up a new chat, and then just you can type as, all right, so I just type as add character movements as the man is driving the car into the prompt below, right? So once that is done, it'll actually start adding that into this prompt right here. So you can see camera movements and you can see character movements, hand suddenly adjust grip and steering input in smooth arcs and everything. So again, you can like customize the character movements and everything. And once you got this, you can just copy this whole entire scene, and then you can actually turn this into a JSON prompt, right? But what I would actually recommend for you to do is go into GPTs and then go ahead and search for VO3 JSON prompt generator, because there are some other GPTs that other people have made just for this scenario. So the GPT that I have used before was this one right here. So basically you can use this GPT or you can use any other GPT, but just click on start chat and then you can basically paste the prompt. So as you guys can see, it'll ask you to actually kind of like confirm some things, but ASMR sound elements, and there are many things that you need to keep in mind here. But if you're not looking for ASMR sound elements, you can just ignore that part and just give the necessary details that this GPT needs, and then you just want to copy that output and paste that into VO3. All right, and once you've done that, you will be able to get this type of outputs, and then you can just download them, and then you can import that into After Effects. So once you've done that, the next thing that you've got to do is kind of like add the text. So in this case, as you guys can see, I have added my text. But before you actually add the text, you need to actually remove the background, like separate the background and the subject, right? So in order for you to do that, you can actually use the roto brush tool inside of After Effects. But I personally don't like to use that, just because it takes a little bit of time, and also it's pretty hard to get the exact same output because it just takes so much time. So just for that, I just actually use CapCut to actually get rid of the background and everything, and then I export that output in with a green screen. So you can see, if I turn this off, so you can see I just exported only the main subject with the green screen through CapCut, and then I removed the green screen using the key light effect. And after that, all I did was I added that, I made a pre-comp of that, and then I added the text behind the subject just to give much more kind of like that depth of field effect. And also make sure that you add a fast box play effect into this, just to make it look like that the text is actually behind the actual subject, so it is not on the focus, so people will feel like, you know, it's actually something that is in this scene, right? So after you've done all those things, what you can do is you can include my actual presets, which again comes in my pack. So all I did was I added a deep glow, a vignette effect, fast box play effect in the beginning. I mean, all these things are included in the preset pack itself. And another thing that you need to add here is the Venetian blinds, just to get this kind of like this line overlay effect, right? So this is before, this is after. So you can see there is some of a difference here. Again, this is optional if you want to use the effect, but anyways, all of these presets and effects will be inside of my editing pack, right? And once you've done everything, you can top this all off by adding an particle overlay, and you also will be able to use this type of videos in your YouTube videos, or if not, on your documentary videos as well. So with that being said, those are pretty much all my YouTube editing tricks that anyone can use to level up their YouTube videos to make it much more premium and also professional. So I hope you guys learned so much from this video, and if you're looking to master editing and content creation for YouTube, make sure to join my community, which will be down below in the description. So with that being said, I'm gonna end this video right here, and bye bye.